All right, this is English and English podcast number 7. That's Brett.
Yeah. That's Eric.
I'm just talking about we're almost experts now. Number 7.
Number 7. Once you do something 7 times, you're in charge. Right. You're a pro.
I thought it was 21 times. Oh, that's to become a habit.
Yeah.
It only takes 7 times
7
to
times
be
to be an expert.
Right?
21 times to make it a habit.
Right.
Experts don't bother with habits.
They don't need to.
They don't need to. They're experts.
So you become an expert before it becomes a habit.
Right, yeah.
Somehow.
Habit is when it's become rote, you're no longer an expert. It's just drudgery.
Yeah, because even monkeys can develop habits.
Yes.
Poo flinging.
Exactly.
Things like that. So why would they fling their poo the first 20 times, though, before it became a habit?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, you don't need it to be a habit.
Right, yeah, exactly. First, they're just trying to get that expertise.
Build the skills.
Then they go. There's a middle between 7 and 21 in which you're just like working your trade,
right?
And then at 21,
just for the love of the
game, you can't stop.
Yeah,
right?
You can't stop. Then you're locked in.
You're locked in. You got to change it up.
That was bullshit, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know how many days I woke up at 4:30 in the morning for that warehouse job?
Yeah,
never became a habit. I still do not wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
Exactly.
Although I guess technically I didn't ever do it 21 days in a row because of weekends. I still guarantee you that I would not naturally wake up.
Now there's certain things
that
that's invalid for. Yeah,
right. So that doesn't the rules.
You could set an alarm for any activity and try to do it at the same time every day, 21 days in a row. And if it was not your natural cycle,
your
rhythm,
body's rejecting it.
Wouldn't work.
Right. Yeah, you can't just make yourself do things that are not physically possible.
Well, I mean, obviously that's not what I'm saying. But let's say,
for me, waking up at 4:30 was really
not physically possible. Yes.
I wasn't a sentient human being at those hours. It's amazing.
That's how it goes.
It's awful. Mm-hmm. So I actually have topics this time.
Proceed.
My first one is people that piss me off.
This would be a long topic. Let's.
It's just one of them.
Okay, we're just tackling one kind.
Because Publix, which is a local grocery store chain here in
the less seedy of the local grocery stores.
Yeah, it's one of the nicer ones. And they have this policy that they will actually help you with their grocery bags, carrying them out. And they actually push you about it. They've gotten better, but they used to have a specific policy where they would they were supposed to put their hands on your cart.
Yeah, they'd start wheeling it out.
And then
would you like
to
to
no, they were supposed to take 2 steps with the cart and say,
are you sure?
Bitch, get back here with my groceries.
Right, yeah. I just let him do it.
Not to mention... Oh, you do?
Sometimes, yeah. Whatever. It's kind of pimp. You walking out.
That's what I was talking about.
Sunglasses
I was talking
on.
About how much I hate you.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, that would be better. For me, it's if I saw the person I knew they were doing it just to, troll the people, fine, carry on. I will have this 80-year-old woman carry on my groceries.
Well, around here, it's mostly college girls, so there's that. Yeah.
But for me, it's you see these, what are soccer moms without kids? What would you call that type, waspy kind
Spincers?
of,
I don't know.
No, they're not old. I mean, it's not like the kids are old. They're just, that type of, smarmy housewife that
just
drives a crossover SUV. And,
right, yeah.
Anyways, they had, you'll see these people
part of a Rotary Club or something.
I don't know. They'll come out of the Publix with, just getting their sunglasses out of their purse or whatever, while this 80-year-old woman pushes their cart with 4 bags of groceries in it or something. Seriously?
I don't like the old
you just push this cart all the way around the store. You can't push it out 5 more feet to get to your car.
I don't like the old folks doing it either.
Yeah,
I don't care if the college kids do it. If they offer it, I'm like,
man, and this old lady is going to ask me to help, to carry my shit. Yeah. And I'm like, please.
Now, however, if they did offer to take me out on a palanquin, I'd allow that.
A palanquin?
That's like those old things the princes and sultans would
have.
Yeah,
with the
4 where they put them on, there's 4 people on their shoulders, and they're just reclining on the
eating grapes,
silken sheets and pillows, eating grapes. Right. Yes, take out
more
my
attractive
groceries.
young bag bearers. Then,
yes, exactly.
Then that's fine.
I mean, and the odds are in your favor for that in this town. So,
well, at least younger, maybe not attractive. I mean, they're definitely present.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying, it's a
lot
of college
going
kids.
Going to Publix is going into Hooters or something.
No, but I'm saying about, college kids mostly working there. Half of them are women, probably, so.
Right.
There you go. But it is kind of that same stupidity. The first instinct is to be like, no, I don't need a woman to carry my bags out for me, or to push the cart.
Or
I think I'll manage.
For that matter.
Right, yeah, I don't even need a guy.
I've been pushing the cart for 20 minutes. I can't push it 10 more feet and then lift the bags into the cart.
Right, yeah, exactly. That is a
why
weird
don't you come
thing
home
just
and
in
help
general.
Me wipe my ass
why
while you're at it?
Why don't they have people at the door asking if you need help?
Well, because that would take too much time.
Right, exactly. But I mean, that's like you said, I've already managed thus far. I mean, I guess the only thing is literally lifting the bags out.
Yeah, because you put the items in the cart individually, but the bag has a bunch of items in it.
Right, so, and also you're going against gravity.
That's probably the idea. But, I mean, they ask everyone, and it's rarely... when I see an old, decrepit person doing that, it makes sense. I don't care.
I guarantee you it's because somebody complained at some point. Or maybe not. Maybe somebody
tends to try and do things that they think people will like.
They probably just trying to be all
But to me, the pushy thing, are you sure? And I'm like...
It's cresting. It's cresting from going like we're going to prove we have good customer service to we're pushing about our customer service. Yeah.
Like, sure, you don't want me to ride home with you and put the stuff away in your cupboard?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Sure. I could label all of these for you.
You're right. What? Unless it's the hot co-eds again.
Right. Exactly.
Sure. They go in my basement. I'll follow you down. Like, sure, help me load these up into my rape van. Here, get up in there. I'll pass these up to you.
Right. Yes, that would end the program pretty quick. First time that happens.
Oh, so you're just buying duct tape and plastic?
Yeah, that'll happen one of these times. Some co-ed will be like bending over the trunk to put stuff in, and a guy will like grab the ankles and throw him in and
slam it. Yeah,
slam the trunk.
Leave his Go-Gurt on the
right. Yeah, like peel lot. Out, crash the cart behind it. You know, and
steal,
oh my god!
Steal away the cart girl.
And then that'll stop that.
Right, that'll start. Or they'll just the cart guys will be like 6'4" ripped black guys. Like, you drove through groceries.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. Exactly. Start getting power lifters in there.
Yeah.
I'm a little intimidated.
And speaking of grocery stores, that's another thing that makes me think about. Is I think back in the day it used to be legit.
Yeah.
Like sweepstakes. But now there's sweepstakes on everything. Everything has a sweepstakes. You could win this, win cars. I don't know anyone, or even know anyone who knows anyone who's won any of these.
I guarantee you there's like a...
Do you know anyone?
There's a hole in the desert where they pour...
Like in the Running Man. Like you win, you disappear you.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's a place full of receipts or coupons or whatever the vouchers are to turn in. Right. It's buried right next to the E.T. games or whatever, kind of thing.
Ridiculous, because no one. There's like everywhere you look, every bag of chips you open, every soda,
you could win us this
and cars and vacations and
Ski-Doo or whatever.
Right.
It's like no,
I don't know anyone who's won. And I used to win things like little local raffles. I won like a giant stuffed gorilla.
Yeah. It used to be a little more honest. It felt like because it was run on the local level for a small item.
Right.
Like okay,
I mean, it's still maybe a few $100, like a bicycle or something.
Right. Yeah.
Like
kids' bike or something. Yeah. Exactly. But then all these ones where you send in. Or like every Mountain Dew has you can win points for some Xbox, and like you do get the piddly shit. Like they'll give you a 50 Xbox points that you can spend on DLC, which is enough to buy 1/4 of the DLC. So then you have to add
DLC is
like downloadable content, like add-ons to the game.
Okay.
So they'll give you like Xbox. But it
still causes you to buy shit.
But it still causes you to have to spend another $5 to make up the difference.
Right.
So it's like an incentive.
So they're still making money because it's like 100% profit margin or something.
Right. Well, because they're giving away digital money.
That's what I mean. So it's just
they're giving away not even giving away bitcoins because
all they're really doing is giving you a coupon.
They're giving you a coupon, exactly,
which is okay,
which is fine. But I mean, like,
I think what it is you start.
But I don't know anyone who won an actual game.
I'm starting to see things now where they all say, like for a chance to win. So like even if you're selected, they're not like because in the raffles they used to have like one person will win this,
right?
And in all these modern sweepstakes, I don't think it's guaranteed that anyone will win.
Yes,
it's like possible for someone to
win.
Those
asterisks and stuff are a lot more there.
Conditions are met.
Like if you win, if you're selected, you are one of the finalists, but then you must qualify and
or some other thing has to happen for you to win.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because there should be people. I mean, and maybe we're just don't know any lucky people, or we're just
maybe
unlucky.
We're just not part of the right crowd.
But I used to be. Maybe I used it all up early on stuffed gorillas and bicycle helmets when I could have been winning
12,
Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Yeah, why did I enter the coloring contest at Publix?
Yeah, in the costume contest at Home Depot.
Right, exactly.
Should have waited and entered the Monopoly game.
Or was it the coloring contest at Home Depot? That's one I remember. Is there was always one year one of the stores. Well, one of them would always do the stores with the coloring contest where they would do every Halloween.
And we were all
one had
awesome.
A costume contest. Yeah. One had they would hand out a sheet for coloring. And, like, we actually could color inside the lines at age 6,
right.
And, like, I've added shading, like, and they're like, what?
Well, it was, like, from ages 5 to 10, and we'd be, like, 9, and, of course, we'd, like...
Well, there was that, too.
Crush the competition.
Right, yeah, it's like, you're
not only were we older, but we were
holding
better
down
anyway.
the 8-year-olds,
exactly.
Or, like, holding down the 6-year-olds, like, so what,
Right.
The big kid on the little league
of course,
team.
we actually drew and colored all the time, so we didn't suck at it.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, not that I'm... an artiste of that level, but just it was just something we did a lot as kids. Right. So it wasn't like the scrawl of like chalk outside the lines and everything.
Yeah,
and, like some people's stuff is just horrendous.
We
like,
burned it up, man. We wasted it.
Yeah, used up all our. I peaked, man. I peaked at the coloring books.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a skit we could do.
Yeah,
it's like some guy. there's like a shooting star, or some way for him to make a wish, like a fountain. The guy's like, "We should wish something good." He's like,
"Actually, saw one
works."
Recently, like
a shooting star.
Yeah, I was getting groceries.
He's
at
like,
like
"Fine,
10
I
o'clock.
wish I had something," and he wishes for something mundane, and then it happens, and he's like, "Fuck!"
Right? Yeah, like where
he's like, "Wish for mortality, wish for the huge dick," or whatever. And he goes through all this list.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and he's like, "It does, it does." And
you
get
like, one
fine,
wish.
I wish
make it good.
I had and then something stupid.
Yeah, I wish I had a Coke right now.
Yeah, and he's like, bloop, and he's like, "God damn it!" Right, yeah. I hate you.
Right, yeah. Somebody else wishes for like, I wish for a hot babe. Bloop, and they're like right after him, and he's like, "No!"
Or they just wasted it for everyone.
Like, yeah, exactly.
One guy does
like
it.
only one guy. Like you're the one who saw it. You get to make the wish.
Yeah, wish us all to be rich. He's like,
wish cancer to be cured, man. Wish hunger to end. He's like, it doesn't work. It's like, no, man, you have to do it. It's like, fine.
He's like, what? So if I just say I wish I had a Coke, it'll be
yeah, exactly.
Like, no.
I still really want to do. That also makes me think of like your one chance being blown kind of thing. Remember we were talking about the bad superhero skits?
Yeah, the Superman.
We want to do a series of superhero skits where these had incredibly bad superpowers. And one of them would be like the Ultraman or the
whose
better
powers were technically really good.
He's the only one who has actual Superman power. Use each power once, so he's so
and then it disappears.
Waffling, like he used heat vision once.
Yeah,
he used heat vision once, and he's supposed to like now he can never use it again.
But he's crippled by like
indecision.
choice paralysis. Like,
exactly.
Was that the best way to use?
Like people fall off a
14
building,
people, but maybe later I'll be able to
right.
save
Like
100.
if people fall off a building, but he doesn't fly up and catch them because then he'll never
it's only
fly
like two
again.
people, and what if he needs to stop a
and so
warhead?
people are like,
or something?
the other heroes are like, "Why don't you do it? You can save them."
I can't.
I gotta use it at the right time.
Yeah.
And then one time, one of the guys is like, omega level alert. They're like, a meteor's gonna strike the earth. And he's like, "This is my shot." And it's just like flying through the atmosphere, and you see a burning, rock in the sky, hurtling down. It's like dun 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 dun. And as he gets closer, he noticed the atmosphere is worn away. It's burnt up.
It's a big ice block.
It's big ice block. So now, by the time he gets there, it's like a walnut, and it bounces off of his chest harmlessly
because he's impervious.
Because he's impervious at this point. But now he's used all his powers,
so he
can't. So he can no longer fly. He's no longer impervious, and he plummets to the earth.
Falls to the earth, dies.
Falls to the earth with a look of like, no.
And possibly in the last effort, using up any other stupid powers he has. Like maybe then he laser beams futilely because he's like panicking. He kills someone.
They just spitefully, not even like
panicking. Like fuck you. He's like one of the other superheroes is on the ground.
He's like falling back to the Hall of Justice.
So he blows it up.
And the one guy's like, "What's going on?" Binoculars. He just laser eyes him
for no reason. He's pissed off.
Lobotomizes one guy seconds before he mushes into the ground.
Just spirals into the ground and explodes. We are very macabre.
Yeah, very black
humor. Yeah. What were the other ones? We had we tried to come up with like powers that were like technically like real and potentially useful, but really awfully hard to use in any real way. I like Ghost Tongue.
Ghost Tongue, yeah.
Yeah, he could taste the past, I guess. Taste what was happening or what had happened.
Right, so he could lick things and like know what was it, Ghost Tongue or something?
Yeah, it was Ghost Tongue to tell like he would.
But so he'd have to.
Oh no, he could tell what was on the other side of like walls or something.
Right, yeah, or he's like, he could lick through things.
Yeah, lick through things,
taste through things.
Yeah, so he'd be like, "There's 3 sweaty men on the other side."
Right, yeah, exactly. Like we need to know how many terrorists are in the building with the hostages.
Or like there's a door and he licks it. And he's like, "Oh, it's a bathroom."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we like lick the door to find out how many hostages, and be like, "We got 3 Arabians."
Yeah.
Like, how do you know what Arabians taste like?
And he's like, "You don't know."
Yeah,
extensive sampling.
Exactly, extensive sampling. He goes around sampling things
because he has to
blind taste.
He doesn't automatically know. He just tastes it.
Right. Yeah, the Ghost Tongue or the taste test.
And then there was the burning ear. The guy who could hear any conversation in the world, but only if they were talking about him.
Right. Like he could telepathically hear.
So they tried to like inject. Like somehow get the bad guys to talk about it.
He sent like notes, like firing.
But then we came up with this storyline where he saves the day and gets really famous. So everyone in the world is talking about him, and he drives him mad. Yeah, he's hear every conversation in the world that's talking about him.
The other one was the Chrono Smell.
That's one I was thinking. Chrono Smell.
But like he could smell anything
in future or past at that spot or location.
But the problem is he'll smell everything. So if there ever was garbage there, like he smells all the garbage that was ever there.
Chrono Smell.
And he has to try to sift through it. Like he's in a back alley trying to like he's like
a dog-like smell, right? And through time,
like track the killer. But he's like he smells every piece of garbage that had been there.
Or everything that's ever been there.
Yeah, every bum that took a piss.
Pissing bums. So this is a great Justice League thing that we can
yeah.
So I think we had some others too.
We had some other ones, but I don't. We don't have to I can't remember them all right now.
I mean, we originally come up with some that I don't know if we were planning on using again, like the guy who could turn anything into a fruit.
yeah. It's like, that's actually almost too useless, though, because he just turned weapons. Oh, no, there was the guy, instead of transforming into animals, he could switch places, minds with animals.
Change minds, so that he would, turn into a bird's mind to fly around, but then he would have to go back and find where his body was after being a bird's mind in it for all day. So flapping around scared.
His human body is running around going, caw, caw! You know, like,
it's a bird.
This bird is in a human body, doesn't know what the heck is going on.
So sometimes he'll be able to, lock up his body and switch with the animals, but sometimes he has to do it under the spur of the moment, change into a rat to get inside this building. But then his human body has had a rat's mind in it for the past 5 minutes. So he finds himself
in a sewer chewing on power cables, you know, and he's like, oh god.
Or trying to cram himself into a tiny hole or something.
Or he'll switch back with himself and wake up finding himself like a dog kennel, you know, or something.
Well, he wouldn't be put in a kennel because he's still a human body.
Well, right, yeah, he'd be in prison.
By being totally schizo. Fighting people or pissing in the streets and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And acting all scared.
He has to explain to them, no, I'm the hero, you know. I'm the Beast Mind or whatever.
Beast Mind.
It's like, you're not Beast Mind.
You're every fucking crazy that comes in here says
Beast Mind transforms into animals. No, actually,
no one knows this.
No, he's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, that's why it's Beast Mind and not Beast Man.
No, it's Beast Mind. Whatever, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Tell to the judge.
Right.
Beast Mind. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, we had some good ones.
Yep.
And so I saw Horrible Bosses 2 actually the other day. Have you seen that yet?
No, actually, I never saw that one.
It was funny.
I saw the first one, but
I don't remember the first one very well. But I think it was potentially even funnier than the first one. Not that the first one was all that funny. I mean, it's solid, but this one is pretty funny. It's worth watching.
Gotcha.
There was the funniest part to me was because they were kidnapping in this one instead of murder. They were trying to do kidnapping.
Extort to get their business back or whatever.
Right.
Blackmail a guy or something.
So he had sort of fucked them over, and they were kidnapping to get them, and they were in a spot where if they didn't get $500,000,
they couldn't buy their business back. Yeah.
Well, they hadn't lost it yet.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter. But anyways,
basic premise: they got to raise the money to not.
But the funniest part was the cops show up at their place to question them because they know they'd had a rough business dealing with the guy that got kidnapped. Mm-hmm. And the detective is the guy who played Mike Ehrmantraut on Breaking Bad.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that grisly character.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So you have any problems with them?" And they were like, talking to him, doing interrogating. Of course, they're all nervous and awkward. And then the Charlie Day character's like, "Well, I mean, yeah, but nothing that we would, we would never kidnap them or anything."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Who said anything about kidnapping?" And they were like, "You did. I'm pretty sure you did." And he's like, "No." They're like, "Oh yeah, you did." And they babbled for 5 minutes. And then the other cop was like, "Did I say anything about kidnapping?" He's like, "Honestly, sir, I think you might have." Like, shit, all right, maybe. Actually convinced him that he said something. Yeah. And then later in the movie, he's like, "It's those guys." Like, I knew I never said anything about kidnapping.
It's those dumb things that are
if they were realistic. I never said that. If those people were adamant, you'd be like, "Fuck, I've been talking to people all day about this. Did I mention something?" Yeah, exactly. And that's what he was like. It's like, shit, maybe I did say something about the other cops.
I may have.
He's like, I can tell through all their babblings. So I think you may have said something about it. They actually convinced him.
Kind of mundane jokes about human fallibility stuff is usually the funniest, actually.
Right. So the only other movies that are coming out that I know of course, Avengers.
Yeah, that's a little ways off, though.
Not much. It's the beginning of April.
End of April.
3 weeks. Oh, it's the end of April?
30th. It's May 1st.
No way. I thought it was April 1st.
No, it's April 30th. It's the Thursday night showing.
Age of Bonetron. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Yeah. Straight to DVD, actually.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Age of Bonetron. There's a lot more girls on this team.
Right.
Sweet.
What's that robot doing?
Right, yeah. That's a very different looking Hulk.
Yeah.
Just a guy in green body paint.
Oh, you're right. It is May 1st. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's a whole other month.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not that much between now and then that sticks out in my mind, anyway. But that's the beginning of the summer, May, summertime movies kind of start then.
Yeah.
So it's always a little dry movie-wise in the winter, the first quarter.
We saw, what was the last one we saw? You were there. What did we watch?
Yeah, we went and saw Kingsman.
That was fun.
Yeah. Another kind of like you were describing, another middle of the road, solid entertainment.
Yeah, just entertainment factor is solid.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't be one of those movies I say everybody's got to see this.
I'm probably not going to buy it.
Not going to stick with me forever, but I was not sad that I went and saw it.
No, entertainment value.
Did not regret the money.
Fun and decently humorous.
Yeah.
So worth watching. So one of these stories that's been making its way around the interwebs. Well, usually just Facebook and all of social media.
Right, yeah. People start sharing it. It's trending right now.
I guess this guy who did a proposal, he decided he wanted to marry this chick, and it was her birthday. So for a year, instead of actually just proposing, for a year he did like a photo every day of a proposal on this paper, like, will you marry me, with the date, I love you, I want to spend my life with you, with the date, all this stuff. And then
turned into a montage.
He turned it into like a time-lapse montage, and the internet split between people like, oh my god, it's so romantic. People like, what a fucking stupid waste of time.
Right, yeah.
And I think you know which side
you could have been married. Yeah, exactly. You could have been if you actually wanted to be married, you could have been married for a year already.
Like, is it sweet and romantic? I mean, I guess, but it's also a fucking stupid waste of time.
Right.
Ridiculous.
It's not that romantic.
No, especially because it's just lame. Like, okay, so you wrote on a fucking piece of paper.
Right, yeah, exactly. And also the overblown proposal is stupid to me in general. I mean, whatever. People can do whatever they want. I'm not going to stop them, and I don't care.
No, but I'm going to tell them it's stupid.
Right, yeah. But if you spend that much money on, like, if you spend some money on a nice time, a nice thing, and then you propose, that's traditional, whatever. Right. You know, you took a horse carriage riding in the park or something, whatever. But if you hire a 50-piece band to come out and, oh my gosh, look, we're in the midst of a flash mob.
Right.
Turns out I'm actually proposing.
And we're going to sing Carly Rae Jepsen.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, man. Just, you know what you could have done? That was probably half of your child's medical bill, like, that you're going to have in a year.
Or a sweet motorcycle.
Right, or a sweet motorcycle. Which will probably do more for your marriage than that thing.
To just be able to be happy.
It's not that hard to get somebody to say yes. It's really hard to get them to stick around.
Right. Keep saying yes every year for 25 years.
Yeah, exactly. The hard part is to still love each other and not to be too cynical. But you know what I mean. Like, you know, like, it's not that hard if people are attracted to each other to make it seem like a good idea to get married. It's hard to make a marriage stay good.
Right.
So, put some effort and some money in that, maybe.
Right. Crazy.
Anyway.
And then there was, man, this one was good.
Which one?
Man burned by food while praying can't sue Applebee's.
This
guy in New Jersey had a sizzling steak fajita skin. This is a real news story. It's from NBC. He was seeking damages for burns he suffered while bowing his head in prayer over a sizzling steak fajita at a Burlington County Applebee's. First of all, Applebee's sucks.
Yeah. First mistake.
First mistake.
He went to Applebee's.
Going to Applebe's. Yeah. He's lucky the food was even hot.
Maybe that should have been his defense. It's like
I come in here all the time. Yeah. Like they saying in
It's always old and late.
They rejected the suit because they're saying that even though the waitress didn't warn him the dish was hot, it was posing open and obvious danger. He's like, excuse me, sir, this was an Applebee's. It's certainly not obvious that the food would be hot.
It would have been ice cold.
Right, exactly. Most of the time I come in here, I bounce my forehead off my ice cold fajita skillet during my prayers.
I mean, it's
actually praying for it to be hot. And the prayers were answered.
I was praying, please God, let it be hot.
And then I got burned.
Right.
Because God's a cruel, jealous God. Because he works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
It was hot and it melted to my forehead.
Right. I mean, that's just the funny thing about that. It's some people will think it's stupid. Oh, look who's praying, he got burned. Haha. Like, no, it's not that. It's that you're trying to sue somebody. It's like, yeah, by all means, if you want to make your religion.
What would he touch his? I mean,
how close did he get?
I don't know if he touched it or if it like popped a little oil, but either way, it couldn't have been that serious of an injury.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, he slammed his face and it came out with his skin melting off and roast beef is like seared into his flesh.
Like, burnt on like Darkman. His
right,
flesh
just
is
like,
Yeah, I like
Darkman.
That's an old reference for you kids out there.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Darkman.
B-grade movie.
The first one was Liam Neeson, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And then they got someone. Then they got
the guy who played the mummy. What's his name?
Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah. He was in like the second
and third and fourth.
I
don't know who was in all the rest of them. But the first one was Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
The guy who did Evil Dead, Spider-Man.
Right, yeah. It was one of his
And it was
movies.
cheese and it was funny.
Yeah. Like the whole premise was this guy invented this second skin type stuff. A fake skin to help burn victims, but it turned out it didn't last.
It would like deteriorate after hours,
shorter than that. It was like a couple hours.
Fine.
But it would look like human skin and you could make it take any shape you want. Like you could mimic any face, you wanted. And then at some point, I can't remember, some cross-up with the mob or something.
And he gets all...
It blew him up and he's all disfigured.
Well, he's horribly burned and he for that reason he couldn't feel pain because his
magnets
are gone, and somehow that gives him some super advantage.
Some mixed with the weird stuff he was wearing. Yeah, now he's like super strong and just feels no pain, and the Dark Man hunts
but every once in a while he go around with his fake skin on.
But he go with fake skin, and then all of a sudden it start boiling off his face because it would wear out.
Time, it literally
like 1 hour, he's like goes to see his wife. He's like, "You're alive." He's like, "Yes." And it's like starts boiling away. And he's like, "No!" And like hides in the shadows. Like, you can't see me like this. It's like, yeah, this guy did not get Dark Manned off of the... Didn't boil his face off
the sizzling steak fajita.
Sizzling steak cheese quesarito fajita.
He came up like fucking no lips.
That's right, yeah.
Then I'd be like, that was not a... assumption of risk that you would take going into an Applebee's.
Yeah. You know,
regardless of what you're doing with your food, you come out with no lips.
Right, yeah, exactly. You do not expect...
That's what I expect when I go into Applebee's.
You do not expect a molten lead, to be coating the bottom of the pan.
If he was just leaning over slightly and this huge magma bubble formed and popped in his face,
exactly.
That'd be one
That's
thing.
A little different,
But if you're just like up and down, greasy, like smash your face into a greasy, sizzling mess.
Right, and it happens to give you a slight heat blister.
Right, or like on your forehead or not tip of your nose.
While you're cooking bacon. You
know, that reminds me of this thing. Every time, and this pisses me off, speaking of restaurants, where the waitresses will always come up and say, they'll be handing it to you, like they're holding it, putting it on the table and say, "Careful, it's hot." I'm like, what do you have, like special waitress hands that can take this heat better than I can? Like, you're holding it. What the hell are you
probably
talking
true
about?
to a little bit. They're just used to holding hot things.
Compared to, like, lilies who are in there normally, but you've got some good lifting blisters on there. You're going to be able to
get used to it in a day. You know what I mean? Like, if you do...
Well, being used to it is different than actually physically being burned. You can't get used to physically being,
what they're worried about is somebody going,
right, and like dropping
it back and then dropping it and creating a mess. Not that you're actually trying to first-degree burn your hand. Yeah, he must have been...
I don't think I've mentioned this one before,
must have been rocking prayer. Like, how low are you getting? Like,
right, that's what I'm saying. Did it pop up on his face, or did he literally stick his face
anytime you go home and everybody like holds their hands and prays over the food, or, bows over the food, like Grandpa says the prayer or whatever, nobody's ever...
Oh, wait, here's the details.
Nobody's leaning that close.
It gets better. He said his bowed his head close to the table. Then he heard a loud sizzling noise followed by a grease pop. He then felt a burning sensation
so it was a pop.
in his left eye and on his face. And he panicked and knocked the food on his lap,
causing
more burns. But none of the burns left any scarring.
Of course not. So it got in his eye. I can understand how that induces a panic. But here's what happened. This is what happens with so much of this stuff. Guy did a perfectly normal thing.
Yeah.
Blew up in his face because he was a little too close, and just the inadvertentness of it getting in his eye is the problem.
Right.
Like, you can't control for that.
But obviously it doesn't look like it. First of all, there was no real damages.
Exactly. What happened is he's suing them for his embarrassment. He's suing them for his embarrassment.
Right,
it's
not his fault.
He freaked out because it got in his eye, which he was not going to. But then at that point, you just go, well, that's one of life's things.
Shit happens.
Exactly.
There's not always someone that can be like made to pay for it.
Yeah, like, a bird pooped on me. I want to know who's going to pay for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
Shit happens, motherfucker. But that reminds me of waitresses. Another thing they do, well, not waitresses per se, but just in restaurants, where they'll take the wrapper off the straw off most of it.
Yeah,
like they stick it in there and it comes and it has like a little paper thing on just the end of it that's out of the water
to let you know nobody's put their nips.
I'm like, dude, they could have put the whole other 8 inches up their ass for all I know. Exactly. And then, because it has paper,
the part that's in the water,
in the water,
could have been used to dipstick somebody.
Could have swabbed their urethra with it for all I know. And then just because the 1 inch on top has paper on it,
I'm supposed to believe it's safe.
Supposed to be like safe. Yeah.
Human beings are weird, but that's
another thing that people are weird about. Like, you'll hear people get weird about buying or using like used dishes from like a garage sale or something, and they're like, "Oh, they're used before." I'm like, probably by like one family. You go into like Applebee's, let's say, those dishes have been used by hundreds of thousand times. Different people.
You wash that stuff as soon as you get it anyway.
The deal is if washing works, then what are you worried about? If it doesn't work, then why would you go into a restaurant?
Screwed. Yeah, they're like even your own dishes are coated in your own filth for years because it doesn't.
Right, it's not like cooties. There has to be some specific type of bacteria.
Right. Yeah, people are just squeamish about weird things.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody has their...
They're like arbitrary about it. Is what's
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he flipped it into his lap, too.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Panicked and not... Like, if you're not... I'm assuming you're not holding it. He's, like, praying. So wouldn't you just, like...
He must have had his hands, like, above it or beside it.
Shit. People who would do this shit are just...
Well, that's what I'm saying, So a guy...
You should be able to call these
plenty of people have prayed over their food throughout human history and not done this.
Well, I'm saying, even if he did burn, even if he did knock in his lap, whatever, he had some weird random fuck-up that he... messed up,
and I guarantee you it didn't burn him bad enough to like sear his clothes away.
No scarring or anything.
Yeah.
So he just got some redness, maybe a blister here and there from the oil or something.
Well, what was he shirtless? Like what I mean?
Well, I mean on his face, maybe if it popped up on his face, you could get tiny.
I'm saying it gets in your lap. Okay, it's painful, but it's not
hot. It's not going to injure you.
You're not pouring the hot cooking oil down there.
Right.
It's not soaking through your clothes.
Dark man dick.
Right, yeah, the Dark man dick. I can put the new one on. It lasts only an hour.
Meanings.
No, it's withering away.
Yeah,
we must hurry.
Bubble.
Yeah, we must hurry. Well, not related to any of that. Watch this segue. Chips.
Chips, yeah. Well, it's restaurants. That's
It's restaurants, so it's marginally related, yeah. But
we all knew
it's
about
part of a shrinkflation, as the term has been coined, where because food and all these things are getting more expensive, instead of raising the prices in order to keep the sales the same, they simply start putting less food in each of the bags. Like all the convenience foods you buy, you're actually in smaller portions now. Like we went and got some food a little bit earlier today, and it's like, okay, get the sandwich and pick a bag of chips. Pick a bag of chips, and literally you're both like, these chips feel light.
As soon as you grab it,
as soon as you grab it, it's like
half empty.
This flaccid bag of like less food in there, and it turns out like it's instead they think they used to be 1.5 ounces. Now it's 1 1/8 ounces. It's literally a 25% decrease in the amount of chip in your chip bags for the same price.
Yeah, ridiculous. Those motherfuckers.
And that's just something that, all these people... Well, I mean, they got to do what they got to do. But the funny thing about it is people like to think that the economy's not that bad or that it's recovering.
Without counting for stuff like that.
Counting for stuff like that. You can hide the cost. It doesn't always have to go up in cost. You can do other things to...
Right. Well,
and that's exactly what it is.
The per unit cost is different. But they're like, I still spent this much on my meal without realizing they actually ate less food.
Right. Most of it was soy or something. Right?
Most people probably should be eating less food anyway. It doesn't
right. Yeah, exactly. It's like there's all kinds of things like that, whether it's the chips or whatever else. Like, the economy's still pretty slow and not that good, and they're just hiding the fact by doing these kinds of things instead of the obvious stuff of having it inflate or the prices rise. It's the same thing with unemployment. That always annoys me. Every time people talk about unemployment numbers, I don't pay attention. Because as soon as you ignore...
Well, it's all bullshit.
Well, yeah, as soon as you ignore the people who have been out of a job for more than 6 months, your number is meaningless. The only number worth looking at is the workforce participation rate, in which you look at the amount of people in the country in an age range we consider eligible for work versus those who have jobs.
Think that they're talking about something else when they say,
exactly. Well, that's exactly why they came up with that.
They think they're saying like people that are don't literally have jobs. Right? Like, no, there's 100 million people that don't have jobs.
What the government and the statistics places mean when they talk about unemployment is this made up statistical arbitrary labor force requirement. We came up with people who don't have jobs in the last 3 months and are still looking.
Right. Because it makes...
And of course, how do you determine who is still looking? You could be out of job for 4 months or 6 months or whatever,
or still want a job, and not be actively looking. I've talked to every place in the area. What am I supposed to do?
And you just kind of gave up. But as soon as somebody came around the corner and said,
for better or worse, you still need a job. They're just not actively applying to places because they don't know where to or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Even if they should be, it's irrelevant. It's the fact is that they're someone who needs and wants a job, and they don't have one. That's why they should discount everyone who doesn't have a job, even if that's kids.
Well, that's the workforce participation rate.
Right. It would be.
It's basically all that is saying they have an arbitrary determined what is the workforce age. Basically, they exclude the very old.
But now they're putting more and more people into that group. It's not just age, like you said. People who have been out of the workforce for a certain amount of time.
That workforce participation rate is different because what it is you just say the workforce. It's the percentage of the population that is working versus not.
Oh, right.
It's
the workforce itself is what they keep adding to, detracting from, I guess.
Right, yeah. But the only artificial constraint on that is they do drop off people under 16 and over.
And they drop off people who are not, no longer.
Or on disability.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, unemployment drops off people that are no longer looking for work. The workforce participation rate thing is literally just take the total population.
Okay.
Subtract the
that's more meaningful.
Those that are eligible to work, or subtract those that are not eligible to work. So it's a little bit more. It's still a little bit skewed, because then who determines what means eligible to work? But I think mostly they just subtract too young children, a certain age they could count as retired, like 80 or 90, and then anyone.
Security,
and then they say anyone who's now, of course, that's not 100% realistic. There are people who collect Social Security who also work,
or still need to because they're getting like $700 a month.
But anyway, it's closer to an honest comparison of how many people are in the country versus how many people are working in the country.
Right.
It's closer than
that's all I'd like to see is how many literal living human beings are in the country and how many have jobs. Right. And even if that individually isn't a useful metric at any given day. Like, you can still compare it to, like, in good times, this many of the people are working, and in bad times, this many. Because there's always the kids who are not going to be working and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. So it'll even out. Like, it may not make sense to look at out of context, but as a
but you can compare it
thing,
across the years.
In terms of, like, an IQ thing. Sort of, like, you would just literally be looking at the deviation from the mean.
Exactly.
So, and that would be a lot more useful. But they're obviously trying to hide the fact
that
they
want to use these numbers and these very convoluted metrics to make things seem better than they are.
Exactly. So it's really shitty.
Yep.
Here we go. Got one that says, where is it? Police arrest man who allegedly stole a woman's car on first date.
Okay.
Well, that reminds me of this. There's this guy while I'm opening this article, there's this guy, and I think it was Romania, but it was some Eastern European country. This was a few years ago. And he was like a serial like dine and dasher. Like he would always dress up in a suit and be like really polite and like gentlemanly and traditional and everything. Right. And take him out to a nice restaurant and be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be charming, and they all liked him. But then near the end of the day, he'd just be like, excuse me, I have to take a phone call, and then he would just leave.
Leave the date there too.
Just leave him there to pay.
Leave them with the bill.
Yeah,
so he didn't even just like dash on the restaurant. He would dash on the date.
He would leave the date to pay for the bill. So that made me think of that. He was like a serial dine and dasher, some kind of like
That's weird.
Sociopath. He just loved doing it.
Yeah, like that's weird because like you're not getting.
Well, that's what he got off on was
Right, it's like you're not getting anything more than the date then, or maybe not. Maybe someone would come back angry, and be like, "How'd you leave me there?" And be like, "It's okay, baby."
Yeah, I doubt it. I think he just fuck them over instead of fucking them.
I don't get off on the fucking. I get off on the fucking over.
Here we go. Authorities say a man who this is in New Jersey, allegedly stole a woman's car during their first date last month has been captured. He said 53-year-old Gerald Tietz was arrested Saturday.
That's a name?
Yeah. Tights? I don't know. Tietz. Arrested Saturday after the vehicle, which had the vanity plate Jersey Girl, was spotted in Cherry Hill. That's great.
So that's the one person that got Jersey Girl in the
only
state.
As a New Jersey resident who has Jersey Girl as a tag, became acquainted online and decided to meet on February 26th. He told the woman his name was Gennaro Aladena.
Okay, that's a
and
better
he went
one.
by the nickname Gooch.
I'm the Gooch.
Isn't the Gooch like the taint?
I thought so.
Yeah.
This is a lot of...
that evening, police say he got the woman's car keys and took her vehicle. A telephone number could not be located, and it wasn't known if he has retained an attorney.
Sounds like a lot of great people right there.
That is awesome.
The only person in New Jersey with the tag Jersey Girl meets a guy whose name is Tietz who calls himself Gooch.
Right.
Bunch of winners.
Yeah,
bunch
really.
Of winners.
That's hilarious.
Huh. Any other nuggets of
no, it doesn't look like
interest?
It.
Having some difficulty finding humorous stories today.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh well.
Interesting. Yeah,
not every week can be interesting. This week
we make it interesting though.
Right.
Here we go. Officers suspended after lending models guns and tanks for bikini photo shoot.
And tanks?
Yeah. That's the shit they suspended for. Just to like hang out with hot chicks and doing
not for
crap.
like violating people's rights.
People. Yeah. Like, there was one where this guy. This is outrageous. I can't even talk about this shit too much because I just get too mad. But literally, I don't remember what state this was in, but a cop was responding to, I don't know why he was there. That's sort of irrelevant. But at some point, he felt it necessary to shoot the family's dog, which they always do. And it gets much worse than that, because he misses, kills the woman, just shot the woman dead, and they found him, like, no charges filed. Because they're like, well, it was an accident. And, like, if any of us accidentally fucking shot someone, we would be in jail.
Yeah,
it's like... Yeah.
It's not a case of you accidentally shot the wrong person while facing
or they thought it was a gun and it really wasn't. Like,
right.
It was completely egregious.
Somebody's dog was barking and you decide to put it down and... how the heck do you shoot...
Idiot.
A family member...
I would be happy that guy wouldn't end up in prison if it was my family, because I would take it upon myself to take him out. For real.
Drug them and have him wake up in a room with dogs.
Yeah, I would fucking...
naked.
Yeah. Take that.
God, I don't understand that. I mean, I've done, delivery driving. I've done all kinds of jobs where
they just
I face people's dogs all the time.
You know how many? I just saw some data said in the past 50 years, 0 police have been killed by cops.
By dogs.
No, I mean by dogs. Yeah, sorry. I think it was one, actually, not zero. I think one police officer has been killed by dogs in the past 50 years.
I'm wondering how many people have been injured.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously you could say, well, they weren't killed because they shot them, and that's why. But like even in general, people aren't killed by postmen aren't killed by dogs all the time.
Even the people that are attacked are typically just injured, and even most times you're not injured. Most dogs,
like if you're being mauled by a dog, yeah, shoot it. But
right. Well, I mean, like I would stab or shoot a dog, anybody's dog that came for me. But like I said, I've done jobs where I had to deliver stuff.
Right.
I came up to people's houses all the time.
Well, it's just the whole mentality.
99% of the time,
anything happening to them, even something minor. Is a justification for them to just kill,
flip out.
And use maximum force.
99% of the time, some of these dogs are just nervous and freaking out, or just doing the normal dog thing of alarm, it's a person, you know.
And it's not really gonna
it's not gonna do anything. Like you could tell when a dog is actually being aggressive if you have half a brain.
Right.
Well, I have one time that I can remember that I faced a dog that was actually being aggressive.
Right.
And the person, it wasn't even the person whose house I was delivering an item to, it was the next door neighbor. They came out to walk the dog at the same time. It saw a new person and was like straining at the collar, but I didn't even panic. I wasn't like, like I see all these people like, the post office, employees, and they're just like, "Oh, your dogs! I'm scared of dogs." I'm like, "What are you, nutless?" Just like if it does something,
carry something like a knife or a pepper spray, or
and then if it does something, guess what? You get a lawsuit. Like you just made bank. I've never been so scared of a dog that I was like losing my shit. Like I'm the police and I'm here to enforce the law as a stout citizen. Oh my god, it's a dog! Like
I really don't think there's that. Like, I think most failed dog attacks are either like a roving band of like 4 dogs, or it's like someone at someone's house and like their dogs attack either them or like a visiting friend.
Most of the time,
like, you're out and about or visiting someone in their
most of the time I mean, like, that's probably what happens, is this person who's obviously being aggressive, the police, comes into the dog,
and they can tell that the people are upset and everything.
Right, so the dog senses it and freaks out. But the problem is
regardless of what people say, the appropriate never try to diffuse situations.
Exactly. The appropriate thing then is to say, like, sir, put your dog in the other room.
Right.
And then be like...
Or let's step outside and talk about this. They try to do the opposite. They try to force their way in and look around and mess with people and shit. Because that's what they're trained to do.
At this point, they've watched too many movies and they feel like a badass if they get in.
All they're taught is like they're taught to be cowards, basically.
Yeah.
Like you always have to fear for your life. If anything happens, you have to draw your gun to shoot any risk.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say. It's not their fault. They're trained to be cowards.
And it's still their responsibility.
And they're trained to feel like badasses while being cowards.
Still simultaneously being cowardly.
Right. Because they're trained to address every single little thing as potential threat. What's in that door? I don't see anything.
The only thing I'm worried about is whether you come home tonight. Yeah. Even though policing is less dangerous than roofing and truck driving and all these other things. Fishing.
Crab fishermen die more than policing.
Literally roofers. And honestly, if you take out traffic collisions, it's like not even dangerous at all. Like if you're talking about someone being violent to you, like a dog or a human or something like that.
Somebody fighting back or
most
attacking.
Police deaths are from traffic collisions because they spend a lot of time on the road.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like actual violent deaths are so low.
Yeah.
Like, you walk around with a bulletproof vest and guns, like, obviously you're going to be pretty safe.
And also the full protection of the law. Like, everybody knows not to mess with the cop.
Right.
Because you will be messing with a large guild.
It's just a huge gang,
you will be messing with the police guild, essentially. Right. Everybody in every state will be
still, they act like they're, like, constantly in this, like, grave danger.
Like, we're the thin blue line, and if you don't respect us every goddamn second.
The tide of orcs and shit.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Hapless citizens.
You're not the Rangers of the North, holding back the tides of Sauron.
White Walkers or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Give me a break.
You're not on the Winter Wall or whatever the crap,
I swore the black. I swore the blue.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they piss me off, man. They're a bunch of gutless wonders.
It's just sad that it's kind of come to that, because it wasn't always like that, and it's not supposed to be like that, and not all of them are trying to be that, but that's just what the institution is becoming.
Right. Yeah, that's what's happening.
We need to find something more jovial to go out on.
Yeah, okay. We're 43 minutes. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
People can only handle so much of us.
Yeah, so much of our excellence and the truth. You can't handle the truth. Also, the truth is not always that funny. It's kind of sad sometimes.
Usually,
yeah.
Not that great. Where should I look for good things?
I don't know. Hollywood, whatever the crap. Let's laugh at the.
I don't know what that is.
I'm just saying, like some celebrity news. I'm sure one of them will have done something stupid that we can mock.
Is that .com? No. What is Hollywood?
Oh, like just E Entertainment News.
Oh.
E Hollywood Stories or whatever. E
True Hollywood Stories.
Right.
Zoolander 2 is going to be made.
Oh, really?
Olay's new skin is revealed in just 5 days.
Ooh.
That's an ad. Stars without makeup.
Ooh. I've regretted this decision already.
Yeah.
Stars I was hoping, like, Mel Gibson or something had done something.
Right, he flipped out again.
Somebody had done something funny. Harrison Ford had crashed another plane.
We could see Eva Mendes's post-baby body.
Okay, definitely a bad choice.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I regret this decision.
50 Shades star to play Reigns Queen Elizabeth.
Reigns Queen Elizabeth. Oh, that's some TV show.
Game of Thrones is literally taking over the world. We were just talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Obviously, we're the wrong demographic for this website.
Yeah,
I do not have the appropriate level of estrogen to worry about the baby body of
anyone.
Of anyone, the post-baby body of anyone, unless I am with that person. Then it's serious business. Better whip it into shape.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So not really exactly the most upbeat of
finales,
but not really exactly depressing either. Just,
right? Yeah.
Unless you consider the decline of our great nation to be depressing.
Right, exactly.
The decline of our once great nation to be...
If you consider the degradation of the West to be depressing, well then...
Then,
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week, guys.
All right.
We're going to be on iTunes soon.
Hopefully.
So keep checking back and rate us so all can see our glory and despair.
Yes. Behold my glory and despair.
What was the Ozymandias quote where he's like, "Oh, look upon
me. Yeah, look upon my works, all ye mighty
and despair." Exactly. I always thought that was badass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was somebody who misquoted it once, because they didn't get.
Well, it's funny because people would say and be like, "Oh," they use it as like, "Oh, look at these broken statues," and someone who said that they're that mighty and everything is now this in ruins. And
well,
how many fucking statues do you have, bitch?
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's both. It's both. The thing is, he did ascend to the pyramids of power, Pharaoh over these lands, and but yet even he
fairly unknown to people nowadays.
Right, even he
statues are dust.
Right, even he is
so it
dead
both.
to time.
So it shows what can be done with kind of godlike powers over the populace, and also how little even that matters 3,000 years later.
Exactly. Yeah. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair.
But if you're gonna go out, you might as well go out with some statues crumbled
too. Yeah, exactly. You may go out with sarcophagi.
Right. Statues that took behind lifetimes worth of human man hours to build.
You killed 1,000 people to build your tomb. That's pretty hardcore.
Right. Kind of better or worse, we're still talking about it.
Right. Yeah. Economically, not that. It's pretty wasteful, but
yeah. Well, whatever. So was eating at McDonald's.
Right. Yeah.
Throwing away
speaking of
wrappers.
Badass sayings, just real quick, that reminded me. There was the Thor, the Dark Age. Movie.
Quotes.
There was 2 great quotes that were in the trailer,
and I was like,
and I was like, oh, that's so hard. I'm ready. This is awesome. And then they weren't in the movie. They cut them out. But in the movie, the Odin's character, the father of the gods, he's talking about where the bad guys came from, and he's like,
people think before the universe
there was darkness.
There was nothing.
There was nothing. But they're wrong. Yeah. There was darkness, and it has survived. He was like, oh, that's cold.
Yeah.
And then there was another time where the bad guy's facing Thor, and he's like, Thor, your bravery will not ease your suffering,
right.
And it's I was like, oh, that's the coldest shit, And then it wasn't even in the movie. I was just like, man, that's a cold line. I acknowledge your bravery, but it will not ease your suffering.
The best line that probably made it into the movie was when he was arguing with his dad about just standing and fighting versus going out and trying to do it on his own.
Yeah.
And he was like, and we'll stand and fight them. And he's like, and how many of our people will die? He's like, as many as are needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, right on.
Yeah.
He was talking about the fate of the universe.
Right, yeah, exactly.
He's like, yeah, some are going to die. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool shit.
Yeah, exactly. There were a few cool lines like that.
Yeah.
A few cool
I can't believe those two didn't make it.
But those two didn't make it.
Survived.
The way he said it was just so it has survived. I was like, oh, that's I don't know, chilling.
Right.
And then another one was like, it will not ease your suffering.
Right, he respects and acknowledges that he's being brave, but he's
like I'm still here to punish you,
to ruin you,
right.
To end you.
It's like, oh, that's cold. Oh, it's ice cold.
Some cold ass honkies.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, we'll
that was
say
more
adios.
Positive. Right, suffering into the universe enveloped in darkness. It's better than just a decline.
Cold ass honkies at the end of West.
We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Later.